Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
As I age, I realize that wouldn't it be great, honestly, if we could put ourselves in the dryer for 10 minutes and come out wrinkle-free and 3 sizes smaller. Boy, is it good to be back in the saddle again. Good morning. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. Oh, my goodness, have I got a love for this microphone and now my new chair and everything else. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I've got to say thank you to everybody, and we're going to mention some of those thank yous in just a few moments. But right now, this is Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Get on the route service today, 734-6969. Right now, without further ado, let's go to the phone lines and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and for the Republic. I can't remember all of it. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Oh, well, that's all right. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I want to say good morning to a young man that I haven't had a chance to talk to for almost 3 weeks. Good morning, Wheels. How are you?
Good. It's nice to be able to talk to you again, sir.
Well, you could call me anytime, but on the air, it's been kind of a long time no hear. I am back, and thank you for a job well done while I was gone.
No, it's a pleasure, and I know we've talked to, a few times while, off the air while you were gone and everything, and so, I'm just hoping that you get better and everything.
Well, I will. We're going to do the weather and another series of commercials, and then I'll tell everybody what's going on. Wheels, thank you. And right now, the weather is, of course, brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design at 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. All your carpet and flooring, kitchen construction, home decor items. Really, whatever you need to make your house a home at Cheney Flooring and Home Design in Burley. And right now, here's the lovely Gina with the weather.
Here is your weather as we get ready to saddle up and right on into another work week here at Zeb at the Ranch. And we've got this high-pressure system that is going to be sticking around southern Idaho at least for the next week and a half. So your weather forecast is going to be a little on the redundant side. Here's what it is. Sunny skies, highs are going to be in the mid to upper 90s. Lows are going to be in the mid-50s. For today, looking at sunny skies, high of 94. Yesterday's high was 86. The overnight low was 50. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Oh, Gina, thank you so much. She did a great job on that weather and always does. Thank you. Brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Give them a call, 267-86945. I absolutely want to say thank you to all of the listeners in the audience. My goodness sakes, all the emails, all the cards, all the calls. God bless you, and thank you for all your kind messages. There are some people I want to thank on a personal basis, and I'll do it right after this. Don't forget Daryl's Cleaners at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. You know, they can take your rumply crumplies like they have mine, and believe me, after the last month or so, I haven't had anything taken down there. I got a whole bag full at Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. They'll take the rumply crumplies and make them look brand spanking new. Give them a call, stop in at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley, Daryl's Cleaners. Also, our thank yous go out to our dear friends at SafeLink Internet. My goodness sakes, yes, the greatest, the fastest, most reliable internet service. And they've got over 10,000 customers, and they'd love to serve you. Give them a call. Get on the service today, 677-8000. SafeLink Internet, serving you. There were so many nice people. Now, first of all, Gina and Sharon Hardy Mills, I want to say thank you. They did an outstanding job of filling in for me while I was on my little hiatus to Salt Lake City for my surgery, and then my recoup, be that as it may, here at home. And I just can't thank them enough. Gina, Sharon, thank you. Wheels at the board, always a super nice young man. Other thank yous go out to people that have really jumped in and helped me. Lori and Jeff May. I mean, Lori's been really helping me and Deanne so I can get up and start walking around the house. And Nancy and Larry Hudig, my goodness, they met us here at the place with the equipment that I needed, the walker and the wheelchair and everything. And then old Larry helped peel me out of the vehicle after I got home from Salt Lake. Doug and Leanne Stanger, super nice people. Leanne, that Jell-O cake, oh yeah, we need another one of those real quick. And Eric Anderson brought over some really good zucchini bread. And Lorna Arbogast, my goodness sakes, Lorna, thank you so much for all that you do and who you are. And everybody else. I don't want to forget anybody, so I'm just going to lump it together and say thank you, God bless you for all your kind thoughts and everything. Surgery went pretty doggone well. And they put in the whole shebang with a brand new hip, and then they had to put about a 9-inch rod into the femur for stability, and Humpty Dumpty better not fall for a while. I got to be really careful I don't take some nosedives. And I'm up on a walker, and then I'm also trying to relearn my balance on my crutches. And actually doing pretty good. It's only been 18 days from surgery, and I'm walking quite a bit and going crazy sitting in my office or the bedroom or the front room or the back porch. But we're healing up, and thank you again for all your kind thoughts. Thank you very much. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, open 7:30 in the morning to 5 Monday through Friday, and they've got all your air conditioning air filters. And I suggest that with the temperatures up there looming at the triple digits, 100 degrees, that you stop in and maybe check out to make sure your air conditioner is working efficiently at Ramsey Heating and Electric. And again, located at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Number to call, 678-0459, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. And I got to apologize to the listeners this morning because July was absolutely a mess with this. It was kind of an emergency surgery. I had severely re-injured the hip, and that's why we had to go down literally overnight and have that whole thing taken out, rebuilt, and everything. But we didn't have Lunch Bunch. And I want to apologize to everybody that missed Lunch Bunch. We had a lot of cards and thoughts and letters and calls and everything. Where's Lunch Bunch? Well, we'll have a bigger one next month in August, I promise. At Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley. and another location to serve you at 291 Pole Line in Twin Falls. Thomas and Terry, the whole crew, these are really, really nice people with delicious menus. Whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, I suggest you stop in and enjoy. Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley, 291 Pole Line in Twin Falls. Now, occasionally I'll have to turn off the microphone here this morning. I developed a little bit of a cough while I was in for surgery, and I occasionally I'll start hacking and coughing, and I'll turn off the mic and try not to give you evil things to hear while I'm on the air this morning. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Please give me a jingle. I'd love to hear from you. It's been so long since we've had a chance to visit. I would absolutely be thrilled if you'd give me a call this morning and we talk about things. And while I'm waiting for your phone call, the Republican National Convention. I don't know about you, but I really had a lot of time on my hands to sit and watch all of the convention. I did. I watched everything that was airable. And I listened to all the speeches. I listened to all the commentaries. And I'm starting to wonder if CNN, ABC, CBS, and NBC were watching and listening to the same convention I was, because they certainly tell a different story. Now, I listened to all the speeches. Excuse me. I listened to all the Trump family. I listened to all the, like Marcus Luttrell. I listened to every single speech. And I honestly thought that they had some excellent points about revitalizing America, making America great again, and being that beacon of light for the entire world. But everybody else, from the Democrats all the way through the news media, oh my goodness, it was dark and foreboding. I didn't see it that way at all. Caller, good morning, and thank you for being on the air.
Good morning to you.
Well, hello there, sunshine.
Well, it's good to have you back and to be able to get your blood pressure back up where it belongs. And get you a little more excited.
Well, I got to tell you, I got to be a little careful about that for a little bit. And what we're going to have to do, Keith, and you might find this a little odd during the program, but at the half hour, like at 8:30 and 9:30 and 10:30, you're going to probably hear a little music that Wheels is going to play for about 2 or 3 minutes, because the doctors have said, I've got to stand up, I got to put some weight on that leg, I got to get the blood flowing good. And so we're going to do things a little different during the program, but all probably will not be that noticeable.
You notice one thing that my wife went through when she had an operation here a few months ago, and that is that breathalyzer they give you.
Oh, yeah.
This got nothing to do with alcohol, incidentally. But anyway, it's a breathing machine, and you have to hit the ball to go up. Like in a carnival, how you hit the deal and it goes up to the top. Yeah,
I've got one of those in the other room, and I hate using the doggone thing because I try to inhale so much and hold it that I feel like I'm going to pass out sometimes, but they are for a very, very beneficial cause, and I am using it.
Yes, and you keep on using it. I'll be checking on you.
All right, Keith. Hey, listen, say hello to Nancy, and thank you for your calls. All right, God bless. Yeah, those are really, really nice people right there. I guess that connection's over, but I wanted to say thank you to Keith and Nancy and all their kind thoughts and prayers. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What did you think about the Republican National Convention? Please, I'd like to hear your thoughts and your comments on it. I thought, and like I said, I watched it from beginning to end, and I took notes on it. I thought there was more unity. I thought there was more of an embracing of let's go ahead and beat Hillary Rodham Clinton. I thought there was more of a cohesiveness with Trump and Mike Pence, his running mate, as VP. But I guess not. The Democrats say it was dark. It was ominous. It was foreboding. What are your thoughts? Give me a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Well, I have a moment. I want to say thank you to Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, and we're going to be starting back down there again in a couple of weeks at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Nick Greenwell and all of the physical therapists there to serve you. Please write the number down and call. They can help you get back to being and feeling like your old self. 678-1191, the number to call, and they're at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. You call them today. Also want to acknowledge our dear friends at Berry Equipment and Rental. I'll tell you what, they've got literally all the equipment you need. Now, whether it's equipment rentals, they've got the largest selection of tool rentals and equipment rentals in southern Idaho. They've got all the retail equipment sales if you're looking to buy. And believe me, they've got the best of parts and service serving you in 3 locations at South Lincoln in Jerome and Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and Highway 30 in Burley, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Berry Equipment and Rental, you stop in and see them today. Well, good morning, caller. How are you?
I am great. And, you know, I listen to the convention, too, not all the time, but most of it. And I thought it was enlightening, inspiring, and wonderful. And where the Democrats come out with dark, I don't understand. All I can figure is they just don't care for America. They want everything bad, everything horrible, and that's all they want.
You know, Jerry, I got to tell you that as of this morning, the Democrats, as you said, are getting their wish about being dark and foreboding, because Debbie Wasserman Schulz had to resign as the chairperson for the Democratic National Convention, and there's a lot of illegalities going on with the WikiLeaks emails showing that she was colluding in the effect of trying to defeat Bernie Sanders during the primaries, and it's really getting ugly, and the Democrats have got a real cesspool they're swimming in this morning.
Well, I kind of agree with that. And, you know, they got a horrible candidate. You know, that you start off with something horrible running for the job. She couldn't qualify for a basic background check anymore because of things she's done. She was fired as a lawyer, as a young lady, or disbarred because they were corrupt and dishonest. And her husband, you know, he's basically a pedophile. And, you know, I can't see anything they've got that's good to put before the American people.
Well, I can't either.
Absolutely rotten, corrupt, horrible people.
And I think we're going to be seeing, Jerry, in the next hours, as a matter of fact, as the day goes on, you're going to be seeing more of the corruptness, and you're going to be seeing more of the disarray that the Democrats are in at their national convention in Philadelphia. And I think that the 20,000 emails that were discovered from WikiLeaks showing that Debbie Wasserman Schulz and the Democrats stacked the deck and pulled the aces out against Bernie Sanders, it's going to get ugly, Jerry.
Well, I kind of hope it does. They deserve it.
Well,
anybody that runs as dishonest and corrupt and as horrible an organization as they are deserves what they get.
I agree. Jerry, it is so nice to hear from you. God's blessings to you and your family. Thank you so much.
You have a wonderful day, and may the Lord bless.
He already has. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. The Minidoka County Fair and Rodeo's coming up August 1st through the 6th, and the theme this year, there is magic in the air at the Minidoka County Fair. Oh, my goodness sakes, they're going to have all kinds of great things. You know, all the home events and the open class class showing and the daily schedules, of course, of what's going on with everything. And, of course, they're going to have an open rodeo on Friday and Saturday night and a junior rodeo on Thursday night. Concerts, lawnmower races. Oh, my goodness. Tiny Tot Gymkhanas on Tuesday night. All of this crammed into August 1st through the 6th at the Minidoka County Fairgrounds over in Rupert. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. And an added attraction, they're going to have the old farm equipment, both power and steam, and Gary Chorsman, my dear buddy, is in charge of that display at the Minidoka County Fair for this year. Everybody try to be there. Going to be a lot of fun. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I saved one special thank you because it's an ongoing thank you every day. There is one person I did not mention, and I wanted to put this person as a private entity all to herself, and that's my lovely wife. Goober, I know you're listening in the other room. And there is no way that I can ever say thanks enough for all the over and above work she's done to help me since I got out of the hospital. And, I mean, it's been a chore. It has been a chore because there's been a lot of extra work. There's been a lot of extra lugging around and all this kind of stuff. And she has just absolutely been the best. And I salute my lovely bride, Deanne, for all she does and all she is doing. Thank you. I could not be back on the air this morning, literally, without her help. And I want to say thank you very, very much. All right, give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to remind you, too, that Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Oh, boy, it's been a long time since I've talked about them. Well, if you're having hearing problems, don't let the problem be exacerbated. Take care of it and call them at 312-0957 for an appointment today. They're located right across from Minidoka Hospital Emergency Room and ready to serve you with the lovely Dr. Christine Pickup at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, only locally owned and independent hearing healthcare practice in all of southern Idaho. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Who would like to win a half dozen cinnamon rolls from Sophie's Chatterbox at 530 East Street in Rupert? The greatest of bakery items, the greatest of restaurant items. Oh, my goodness, it's delicious over there. And they're located right on the square in Rupert at 530 East Street, Sophie's Chatterbox. Now, the question I'm going to ask this morning is for first-time winners only. First-time winners only for a half dozen delicious cinnamon rolls. And if you're the winner, call over there at 436-0354. Let them know when you're going to be in for those cinnamon rolls, and they'll have them already hot and juicy and ready to go. They're delicious. All right, here's the question. And the number to call, 436-2244. Who was the actress? This is an easy one. Who was the actress that played Miss Kitty on Gunsmoke? Who was the actress that played Miss Kitty on Gunsmoke? It was her career role, if you will. She had appeared in some other movies and some other TV series, but nothing like the fame that she garnered from the role as Miss Kitty. Who was the actress that played Miss Kitty on Gunsmoke? Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, Zeb, this is Ross. It was Amanda Blake.
Ross, what's your last name?
Newcomb, N-E-W-C-O-M-B.
Have you won before?
I never have.
Well, you just did.
Well, thank you so much, and our wishes are with you so much.
Well, God bless you, and thank you very much. And you just call over to Sophie's and tell them when you'll be in to pick up those cinnamon rolls, Ross.
Thank you so much.
All right.
For us all.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. God bless. Ross Newcomb is the winner of the cinnamon rolls, and the answer was correct, Amanda Blake. And nobody could have played that role any better as the old saloon boss, owner, and, well, let's just leave it at that. Anyway, Amanda Blake as Miss Kitty. Yeah, while I've been down for the last couple of weeks, and if you're like me, you can't stand to be in one place, you can't stand to be laying around, you can't stand to be sitting around. It has been really difficult for me, but I've kind of turned into this old TV, watching the old TV shows and everything. I saw some of the originals, the first show of Gunsmoke, the very first one, and oh my goodness, did they change the format on that program. They changed the persona of Matt Dillon, they changed the persona of Miss Kitty, they changed the persona of Chester. I mean, everything kind of evolved, if you will. And it was really interesting to see the very first episode. And one thing that became really poignantly clear while I was watching the show down in Salt Lake City is the way that Matt Dillon walked. I'm not kidding you. You realize the story about John Wayne, and John Wayne wanted to be an individual unto himself, and he created his own persona. And John Wayne perfected that swagger and that walk. That wasn't really John Wayne as himself. He developed a walk and a swagger that everybody knew as John Wayne's walk. The same is true for James Arness, that starred as Matt Dillon in Gunsmoke. Now, James Arness, had been in quite a few movies, etc., after he got out of the military. And by the way, he was a decorated war veteran. And the walk was one thing that they really changed on Gunsmoke. If you look at some of the early episodes, James Arness, when he walked away, it was kind of a real fast, brisk walk. Well, later on, they developed this really slow, kind of an ambulating, slow, sure of himself. They just really turned him into Mr. Dodge City. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Did you hear Obama the other day? He got on the radio and TV, and I happened to be listening when he did this little speech, and he came out and said that we, you and I, are much safer than we're led to believe. Oh, really? Yeah, he came out and said that with all the gobbledygook that's going through certain networks, and he was kind of aiming his gun at Fox, he was saying that, the news media and everybody else is saying that we're in such dark danger. No. Don't worry. Au contraire, we're much safer than we're led to believe. You know, put another layer of frosting on that cake, Obama, because it's not selling at the bakery. We are in some really serious times right now of civil unrest in this country, a direct problem with racism that is rearing its ugly head across this country. We are under the threat of ISIS and Al-Qaeda attacks, and also they're involving themselves in various communities around the United States. And our economy, our national stature, everything is at a point of real worry right now. And instead of coming out and really addressing the problems and saying, you know what, this needs to be done, we've got to watch out for this, and we've got to take care of this, and appreciating our fears and our concerns, he comes out and says that we are much safer than we're led to believe. You know, over the last couple of weeks, I've really had a chance to study what's going on with our security and listen to various people, talk to various people. I talked to a lot of people down in Salt Lake. I had a chance to visit with some really knowledgeable people about what's going on, about security items, etc. And they are very concerned. They are very concerned that we are, I guess, naive and ill-prepared for what might be coming. Your thoughts, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'd love to hear from you. It's kind of a homecoming, and it's good to be back in the saddle. Give me a call at 436-2244. I want to remind you, too, that on Tuesdays we have a segment called Doctored History. And that, of course, is sponsored by Minnecash Sales at 1321 East Main Street in Burley, right across from the airport. And, of course, they've got all your roofing material. They've got all your shingles. They've got the upgrade of your windows with the Western windows. Save on your heating and cooling bills. They've got carpet. They've got everything. Target Farm and Ranch gates and panels. All of this with really nice people. Zach and the rest of the crew at Minnecash Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley, bringing you Dr. History. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning again. You know, the thing that we're talking about, Obama, he has set us back about 30 years as far as racism is. It's just a disgrace how pointedly he is, starting with his so-called beer summit. He jumped to conclusions there, and he tried to work his way out of it. The public can see just what he's doing, and why the Democrats can keep on saying he's wonderful, I don't know.
I agree with you. You know, I wouldn't say 30 years. I'd say as much as maybe even back into the early 60s. In many parts of the country, the racial tension is as bad as it was when Governor Wallace was in Alabama. And I don't see this changing anytime soon, especially, and hopefully not, if Hillary wins the White House.
It just cannot be. I watched that. I watched Trump's speech from beginning to end, and I couldn't believe that he spoke for an hour and I think it's 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was lifting and everything, and I haven't felt that good about our country probably since Ronald Reagan gave his famous speech.
I agree with you, Keith, and I thank you for calling me back and bringing those points out in front of everybody. I've got another call waiting, but God bless you and Nancy. Thank you so much.
You bet.
All right, buddy. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Thanks for your call.
Good morning, Deb. Glad you're back. Hope you're feeling okay. You'll improve as time goes by.
Well, I tell you what, I'm a little stiff and sore naturally, and sitting in a chair is not one of my favorite things to do, but it's going to be a long 3 hours, but we're going to persevere. Good morning, and what can I do for you this morning?
Well, I've been kind of watching a little bit of this over the weekend, and, you know, I agree with you. The Democrats are starting to implode. They're losing their mind over some of this stuff. They're really losing their mind over how successful the Republican convention was, and, you know, that's just disturbing them to no end that they just might lose.
Well, you know, your point is really well taken, and I'm going to be talking about percentage numbers and the bump that Trump got at the end of the last week's convention. I agree with you. I think that what happened with Debbie Wasserman Schulz at the Democratic National Convention with the lies and the cover-up is going to hurt the entire Democratic Party.
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty sure of that.
Well,
I'm glad you're back, and I'm glad you're okay.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for your kind remarks.
Several more years.
All right. Thank you, my dear friend. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. That was nice. I appreciate those kinds of calls. Yeah, you know, here's the thing that happened this morning. Now, here's the poll numbers. I want to throw this out at you a little bit. That Donald Trump really took a bump up Trump got a bump. In the percentages of voters, whether it's Trump or Hillary, here's what happened. He has jumped into the lead by the latest surveys, 48 to 45%. Trump is leading over Hillary. But now, here is what's really, really interesting, and I think we're going to see these numbers stay in Trump's favor over the next couple of weeks, even through the Democratic National Convention because of all their problems. He has taken a commanding lead by 46 to 28%. Remember this number, 46 to 28% with independent voters here in the United States. So there is a big, big change. Trump leads Hillary 48 to 45. I know that she'll probably get a bump after the Democratic National Convention, depending upon how bad this WikiLeaks story is. And then on the independents, it also is going to hinge upon how dirty Debbie Wasserman Schulz and the Democratic Party treated old Bernie. A lot of those Bernie supporters might say, holy cow, we were duped, we were lied to, and they might jump to Trump. And that number of 46 to 28 could even increase for Donald Trump. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Yesterday, there was the induction ceremony into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Now, some of you might be bored by this topic. I grew up around baseball. At that time, when I was growing up, of course, it was the Milwaukee Braves back in Wisconsin before they moved to Atlanta. And my grandfather used to have season tickets and everything, and we'd go to the Braves game. And I can remember some of the great, great Hall of Famers pitching and playing at Milwaukee County Stadium. I can remember the matchups of Juan Marichal from the Giants pitching against Warren Spahn. I can remember when I was in college doing the play-by-play with the Minnesota Twins and Rod Carew. I can remember going to games and watching Raleigh Fingers, that great pitcher for the Oakland A's with that handlebar mustache. Well, yesterday, they inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown Ken Griffey Jr. and Mike Piazza. And I got to tell you that I cried. I really shed some tears over, they were happy tears, because these two gentlemen that were inducted into the Hall of Fame yesterday, Piazza and Griffey, were so sincere. They really cared and loved their teammates. They really cared, loved, and thanked everybody that helped them along the way in pro baseball. But the biggest thing I noticed, caller, I'll be right there, don't hang up. The biggest thing I noticed that they were so sincere about was their love for their family. The love for their dads, their moms, their sisters and brothers and kids and wives. I mean, it was absolutely an outstanding event yesterday. Mike Piazza and Ken Griffey Jr. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, young man.
Well, how are you?
Well, I'm finer than a frog hair split 4 ways.
Let's not talk about being split 4 ways, because quite frankly, I've been there.
You probably felt like a wishbone at Thanksgiving time, right?
I'll tell you what, the surgery was a lot more complex than they anticipated, and boy, yours truly has got some aches and pains.
No, I'll bet. I wish you a speedy recovery, and like the other caller said, I hope to listen to you for a long time.
Well, thank you. That's very kind of you. Doug, what do you think about what's going on today in the world?
Well, what I'm finding really interesting, and nobody, well, there's a few people commenting about it, but nothing drastic, is that Miss Debbie is going to work for Hillary.
What's that again?
That Debbie Wasserman Schulz went is going to work for Hillary.
Yeah, imagine that. I mean, she was offered the job immediately after this WikiLeaks scandal comes out. And here's somebody that you've heard me on the air, Doug. I have criticized, chastised, and absolutely said the worst about Debbie Wasserman Schulz. Some people that are Democrats locally really came after me and said, how dare you pick on her? Hey, she's a crook.
And she's going to work for a crook.
Amen.
I mean, they ought to get along just fine.
Well,
I seen the protesters, though, were out yesterday in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
The Bernies, did you see them?
I did, but you brought something up that needs to be mentioned here. During the Republican National Convention, I do not think that enough was said in thank yous and gratuities to the way that the Cleveland, Ohio police departments and everybody else handled the protest, handled the dipsticks that were out there trying to cause trouble, and they absolutely got through basically with an unmarred convention.
Yeah, I guess some of the big protesters there, some of the big groups was 8 and 10 people.
Yeah.
And where the Panthers were supposed to be there to do something, well, they heard the bikers for Trump coming into town, and did you see all those bikers coming into town?
I did.
That's like, okay, we're going to go invade this country. They have 500 people, so let's take 10,000 over there. And yeah, it's good. I'm glad it went as smooth as it did. I hope the Democratic convention is as safe. I really do.
I do too.
Anybody harmed.
I do too. I agree with you.
I do not want any trouble, people getting killed, or any such thing as that. I do not wish that on anybody.
One thing, though, Doug, that needs to be said is the news media. I'll give you an example. Yesterday in the Times News, on the opinion page, from the front page to the second page to the third page to the fourth page, every single article that was in there in regards to Trump or the Republican National Convention was absolutely negative. They went after them. Oh, it's so dark and foreboding. And the speech was a pro-war approach. I didn't hear any of that. I listened to Trump's speech. I listened to everybody's speech. And quite frankly, I heard toughness, I heard greatness, and I heard putting America first. What is dark and foreboding about that?
Nothing. But look who the Democratic Party is and what they're pushing on these campuses. They want the safe space. They do not want to deal with reality. They want the political correct speeches so their feelings don't get hurt.
Absolutely.
They can't handle the truth.
Absolutely. Doug, I mean this when I say this, it's a real treat to hear you on the air. It's good to be back on the air, and thank you for your call.
Well, it's been a great treat listening to you.
All right, buddy.
And I hope, like I say, we have many, many more.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. God bless.
Bye-bye.
Caller number 2, I'm going to be right with you. I got to get a weather forecast in. Bear with me 60 seconds, and the weather's brought to you by the Urgent Cares. Riverview Urgent Care, Urgent Care of Jerome, Urgent Care in Twin Falls, all of them. Minor emergencies, major care. No appointments necessary. Quicker, less expensive, and they will serve you. With all your little aches, pains, and owies, you be sure and get a hold of them. The Urgent Cares in Jerome, Burley, and Twin Falls. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here is your weather as we get ready to saddle up and right on into another work week here at Zeb at the Ranch. And we've got this high-pressure system that is going to be sticking around southern Idaho at least for the next week and a half. So your weather forecast is going to be a little on the redundant side. Here's what it is. Sunny skies, highs are going to be in the mid to upper 90s. Lows are going to be in the mid-50s. For today, looking at sunny skies, high of 94. Yesterday's high was 86. The overnight low was 50. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Oh, Kyle James and the crew at all 3 Urgent Cares. Riverview Urgent Care at 382 North Overland and Burley, and Twin Falls Urgent Care on Addison Avenue East in Twin Falls, and Jerome Urgent Care, 133 West Avenue A in Jerome. Minor emergencies, major care. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Zeb. This is Mike, your friendly gas man.
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Good to have you back. We've been missing you.
Well, thank you very much. What are your thoughts on our discussions this morning?
Well, it's just crazy what's going on. You have to step back and just kind of put a big old net over everything and hope that it don't get loose. You know, my kids, I got a 23, an 18, and a 13, and they just sit back and look at this mess and go, "What is going on, Dad? What's going on with our country?"
You know, isn't that a shame that we literally, of course I'm older than you are, but we're handing the next generation or the down from the next generation a huge mess. And I am so afraid that if Hillary Clinton wins the White House and the Democrats take over for another 4-year term, which would mean 12 straight years of Democrats and liberalism, I'm afraid that there never will be another conservative ever elected as president in this country.
I agree. And you're not that much older. I started pretty late. I'm 58. I started pretty late on the children. But about a month ago, I was delivering a load of diesel up to Rexburg where they're building that new overpass.
Yep.
And my contact, whom I've known for quite a few years, he informed me that he was a flaming liberal Democrat.
Oh, my.
And I said, well, that explains why you're late then, doesn't it? Because you didn't show up to unlock the tank for me. And the subject come up of all the rich Republican farmers that messed up our legislature over in Boise.
Oh, my.
And he says it's going to take years to get that straightened out. And I says, well, just be thankful as you eat your lunch today that you maybe will be consuming some food from those rich Republican farmers instead of what Miss Obama is making my children eat in their lunch. And that went over like a you-know-what church.
Well, wait a minute, though. Here's something I want you to do the next time you run into people like that. When they make accusations about rich Republican farmers or whatever, ask them, okay, fine. So they're wealthy, so they've worked hard, so they are involved in politics. What specifically have they done wrong or not done that is affecting you in a negative way? Ask him and look him right in the eye. And when he starts to stutter, just go ahead and say, come on, give me an answer. They can't.
Yeah, I told him, I said, you've had years to get people in there and you can't get hardly 12% of your people out to vote. I mean, why is it the rich Republicans' fault? And he was just all upset. I hope I ruined his lunch for him. I really do.
Well, I tell you what, I just keep on. I hope his peanut butter and jelly never was really satisfied. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You bet.
God bless.
Welcome back, Deb.
Thank you. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Thank you for your call. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Zebediah. Welcome home.
Well, hello, Roberto.
I hopped at you here the other day and waved at you, but you were out in the yard in your little buggy.
My little wheelchair, you mean?
Obama has got. I wish somebody had a tractor big enough to pull Obama's head out of you-know-where.
Well, Bob,
that man has got nothing going. I can't understand. And Wasserman is just getting more Clinton money, I think, out of the whole deal.
We have, Bob, 178 days left of Obama in office. And I still am sitting back. I'm still worrying. I'm still thinking, and I'm still really fearing what this man may do before he leaves office. I don't think he's just opening the door and going to walk out of there. I'm afraid of him.
I don't think he is either. If Trump wins, he's going to declare martial law and stay in.
There's a lot of people that feel the same way you do, Bob. Thank you, and God bless you for your call. And say hello to your lovely wife.
Remember a few weeks back I talked to you about that bathroom law?
Yes.
And we cowboys and cowgirls went and moved some cows, and we did use the same sagebrush.
Well, I really appreciate your amplifying the graphicity of what you did. Thank you so much.
Have a good day and get well.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much. God bless. Caller number 2, stay there. I'll be right there, I promise. I've just got to get this in from my major sponsor. I am so blessed to have your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, as our major sponsor. All the tires, all for the passenger cars, the pickups, the SUVs, the horse trailers, the boat trailers, camp trailers, everything. They've got the best of your tires. Oh, my goodness, and the best in brake service. I mean that. That's not bragging. That's a fact. And, of course, front-end alignment, shocks and struts and batteries. But, above all, a 7-letter word, service. They take care of you. Stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, John on pole line. Oh, wait a minute, Daniel on pole line. Got to get the right name at the right location. Daniel on pole line in Twin Falls, and Randy, my buddy, on Overland in Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, our major sponsor. Caller, we got about a minute and a half left. Good morning, you're on the air.
This will be short. I wanted to wish you welcome back to listen to you on the radio.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that, and I certainly extend to you and yours the rest of a really nice summer. Thank you for calling.
You're welcome.
All right, sir. God bless you. Thank you very, very much. Nice people out there. I didn't stand up like I was supposed to at the bottom of the hour, and my wife come running in a few minutes ago, and she had this really kind of a strained, well, it was kind of hateful look on her face. I've got to try to soothe that during the news, and we're going to get ready to go to the news right now from CBS. My goodness, I've been gone a long time. CBS, NBC, ABC, CNN, whatever. We're going to take a little break and come back with more, and we're going to be talking to the folks at the Senior Junction at 9:06. Zeb at the Ranch. God bless all of you. It's good to be back in the saddle. Take care. Oh, we're going to be hearing a lot more about poll numbers as the weeks go along. Welcome back to Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you. Our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Along with some of our great advertisers like Western Way Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Way Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Way Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Way Services.
Oh, Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call, get on the route service today. Call them at 734-6969, locally owned and operated. Kelly and the rest of the crew, don't forget, if you're having a meeting, if you're going to have an outdoor gathering, a reunion, whatever it might be, the porta potties, they've got the best. You better believe it at Western Way Services. Always at your disposal. You call them, tell them Zeb sent you, 734-6969. Also want to acknowledge the fact that every day when we start the show, we have our weather forecast at 8:06, brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. All your carpet and flooring, kitchen construction, home decor items, whatever you need to make your house a home, Cheney Flooring and Home Design. You stop in and see those good folks today. Right now, we're via the telephone going to run over to, not for a long time, run over to the Senior Junction on Overland in Burley. And my dear, dear friend, Dennis Babbitt, how are you?
I am good, Zeb. It's good to hear your voice.
You know what? It's kind of good for me to hear my voice, too. Thank you very much. I appreciate your kind remarks.
You've been through quite an ordeal.
Yeah, it's been a long, and you know what? I want to say this, Dennis, and I know you can appreciate this. Everybody always thinks, oh, gee, I got a paper cut. Oh, gee, I sprained my ankle. Everybody always has something to worry about in life and something that concerns them, and they've got the aches and the pains. But through everything that I've had done in the last couple of weeks, I still am one of the luckiest people in the world, because down there at University Hospital, if you really want to find out what's going on in the world around you, there are a lot of people that are 10 times worse off than you are.
That's for sure.
And what's going on over at the Senior Junction as you're trying to turn off your cell phone?
We just turned down volume, I guess.
Okay.
What it is, we've got fried chicken, potato salad, corn, and cherry crisp for today.
Ooh.
And tomorrow we've got some sloppy joes, tots, and veggies, fruit salad, and cookies.
Oh, my goodness.
But I can't tell you what type of cookie. I just know Connie makes good cookies.
Well, Connie, if you're listening, Zeb likes plain sugar cookies. There, I got a private circuit message in there. Go ahead.
Okay. Maybe we'll have to see if she can make some of those again.
Oh, boy.
And then for Wednesday, we've got roast beef, potatoes, gravy, salad, fruit, Jell-O, and lemon cake.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
And then always on the last Thursday of every month, we have our turkey dinner. And that is just like Thanksgiving, but we have it every month of the year.
You know, Dennis, I was going to tell you that while I was in the hospital, I had a chance to visit with a lot of people. And one of the orderlies that was working in the hospital was from Rwanda. And we had a long, long talk to this gentleman, spoke eloquent English, and everything about him, he was just very well educated, etc. And one of the questions that came up was about the care of our seniors in the United States of America. And that's one of the things that he noticed since he's been in this country, going to school now in studying medicine at the University of Utah. He said he could not believe the calloused and cold approach that America has in general, not all the time, but in general, to our senior citizens. And if it's noticeable to people from outside of this country, why can't we see it here?
Oh, that's kind of a tough one. But, you know, unless you've been with someone from out of the country where they show respect to their seniors, even to the point that, you know, take Japan and Germany and all, you can go on and name countries where they pay respect to the aged until they lay them in the grave.
Yeah, yeah. Are you finding, Dennis, at the Senior Junction that maybe with the name change and maybe with different and really go-get-em attitudes on the board of directors and everything, are you seeing a change over there?
We are. We're seeing a slow change. We'd like to speed it up, but sometimes it takes a while to get that runaway horse turned around and headed the direction that we want it to go.
Right. Ideally, when you're trying to run a senior center and you're trying to keep a lot of people in the community informed as to, you know, come on, it's not just old people on walkers. Everybody should be a part of it. Everybody should support it. Just because you turn a certain age doesn't mean that you're not contributing to society anymore. How are we going to change this, Dennis? Come on, you've got the floor. You are now the new chairman. Give me an answer.
Well, word gets out, huh?
Yeah.
One of the big things that we're looking at is our grand opening in September. It's on the third Saturday, September 17th. That's the grand opening for the junction. And we've got, let's see, that will actually be a free breakfast.
Okay.
That morning of September 17th.
Wow. Okay.
And on the 17th of August now, we've got a barbecue that's going to be pulling off. And that's going to be during the parade and after the parade.
And that parade is for the Cassia County Fair, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's going to be, we're going to move our grills and everything right out there onto the lawn, have some canopies over the top. There'll be barbecuing and everything right out there next to the parade.
All right. Well, it sounds to me like you've got some great things going on over there, and I promise and tell Catherine and everybody else that I will do my best to start healing up and be more involved and help you as much as I can.
Oh, we appreciate all that you're doing and have done over the years. You have done a lot for this center.
Well, we want to do a lot more because I believe in the old philosophy of people helping people, and you, of course, are exemplary of that. You're always jumping in and helping somebody. If they'd like to have more information about what's going on over there at the Senior Junction, is there a number you want to share with us?
Yes, 878-8646.
Okay, 878-8646. All right. And of these other topics that you mentioned, once again, why don't you highlight when those breakfasts and those barbecues and everything are going to be so people can put that on their calendar? Go ahead one more time.
That's going to the barbecue is going to be the day of the parade. That's on Wednesday, August 17th. And then the barbecue will be, or the grand opening will be on September 17th, which is a Saturday, and that will be a free breakfast starting from 8 in the morning until, I guess, we're through serving.
Okay. Well, again, my
sponsors that are stepping up and helping us, we're receiving donations on a daily basis from a lot of the businesses and individuals here.
Okay.
We've got individuals, for example, that several years ago his mother was on the Meals on Wheels, and after her passing, he continued, and every month he sends $150 just as regular as clockwork because he says, I know somebody needs it.
Oh my goodness, isn't that wonderful?
So we've got a lot of good people. We just added one more member to the board, and that's Fred Sergis. And we are looking at some exciting things. We just see what we can do to get them rolling.
All right. Well, Dennis Babbitt, you're a shining example of getting involved, helping other people, and God bless you, and I mean that. And tell everybody over at the Senior Junction that I said hello. Would you please?
We'll do that.
All right, sir. God bless. Thanks for being...
And Deanne for all you do.
Well, I'll tell you what, Deanne's really the one to thank. She does all the work. Thank you very, very much.
You're welcome.
All right. I mean that. Really nice people over there at the Senior Junction right there on Overland, and some very, very nice people. Calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, I got to tell you that I was looking forward to trying to get on the air last week. I was going to maybe do an hour, and then I was going to have Gina or Sharon take the rest of it. And the doctors and some of the folks involved said, you better not be sitting up too long in kind of a sit-up position just yet. So I want to say again, in case people didn't hear it in the first hour, my thank yous to Gina Jameson, Sharon Hardy-Mills, Wheels, and everybody else that has been so nice helping me over the last couple of weeks, 3 weeks. After I had that surgery in Salt Lake City. Thank you for all your kind remarks, your emails, your cards, the telephone calls, and all the gifts and all the food. Oh, boy. Yours truly, I'm going to have to wheelbarrow to get my stomach carried around in. But thank you so much. I do appreciate it. Calls are welcome. Come on, give me a call. I'd like to hear from you. It's been a long time. Don't forget Hanson Mortuary, and they're located at 710 6th Street in Rupert with our dear friend Joel Heward, his staff, his family, always serving you with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. When there's the passing of a loved one, you need help, and they are always there. They are there when you need them with family attention. Please remember the number 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. Please remember they are there to help you. All right, your turn. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to go back to a newspaper story that I found in the Times News, an editorial actually, a couple of days ago. And it was involving the topic of hate, H-A-T-E. And, of course, there are a lot of us, like myself, that are against the refugees coming into this area. I am against the relocation of refugees into any area of the United States right now if they are coming from a portion of the world that is full of turmoil and we don't know who they are. Okay. That being said, you know my stand. I agree with Donald Trump that there has to be much more scrutiny. I agree with many of the people with Homeland Security and also many of the senators and congressmen that are saying we don't know who these people are. We need to have a better system of finding out and vetting these people so that we don't have to be concerned about Syrian Muslim terrorists. But for the Times News newspaper to come out with an editorial that says Twin Falls must make hate unwelcome. I was a little bit taken aback by that title on this op-ed piece, because in many cases of the people that I have talked to over the last few weeks, many of which I talked to when I got back home from Salt Lake and couldn't go on the program, but I wanted to find out a general opinion, it's not hate. It is not hate against anyone or any entity. It is, in most cases, these words. And I think the Times News would have been better served to also acknowledge the words fear, concern, and security. Those are the words that I have heard expressed to me, and those are the words that my wife and I have talked about. And many of the people that I visited with never once used the word hate. Never once said that they hate these refugees. Never once said that they had any animus against these people personally. But they are very fearful right now about the unknown. They are very concerned about our government wanting to bring in so many more. As a matter of fact, Hillary Clinton has said that if she becomes president, wants to bring in just literally hundreds of thousands more. And they are very concerned about security. So I found the editorial where it said Twin Falls must make hate unwelcome. I thought that whoever had written it, or maybe a group of whomevers, didn't do their due diligence and really should have contacted people like me, like you, and others, where the word hate can definitely be replaced with the words fear, concern, and security. What are your thoughts on this? Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Come on, it's been a long time. Give me a call. I'd like to hear from you. While I'm waiting for your call, don't forget Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the world. They've got all the four-wheelers. Yep, they got them all. A great big showroom just full of four-wheelers. My goodness sakes, all the different sizes and colors and everything else. And the new 2017 models are on their way in, so be sure and stop over and see them. This is where the fun is sold. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the world. Their summer hours open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6. You be sure and stop over and see Let's Ride. Really good people. All right, your turn. Come on, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Is it hate? Or is it, like I said, fear, concern, and security? Many people like Mike McCall, chairman of the Homeland Security, and others have said, no, the vetting system is not working. Over the weekend in Germany, a Syrian refugee bombed and killed himself and severely injured others. I absolutely am sick and tired of people saying, well, you hate these people. No, I don't hate those people. I am very cautious right now for your security, my security, and my family's security. Fear, concern, and security. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, I hope you're doing good.
I am, Randy, and it's a treat to hear you. Thank you.
Well, I've been driving past your house quite a bit, going to Twin, and I've been taking the old road, and I've been checking to see if you're out in the chair, you know, how you sit there and you know, out there under the canopy.
I got to tell you, I had a little...
Yes, I figured you must be still recouping.
I am recouping, and I've got a wheelchair, and I got to tell you this, Randy, real quick. To get off of my sun deck on that ramp that we have there, the elevation of the deck would not meet ADA compliance for building up a speed of about 75 miles an hour by the time you hit the end of the deck ramp. And my poor 128-pound wife was trying to set the brakes on the wheelchair the other day, and to be quite honest with you, we almost qualified to make the 6 o'clock national news.
Well, we want you to heal up. As like I tell people, I went to a funeral of a gentleman I knew pretty well. His name was Forrest Hall. He was from here, lived here, and I used to do things with him quite a bit. And we went to his funeral, and then you hear about their history, and you realize, you know, what kind of men they were. You see, and you say to yourself, we're losing them. We're losing our people. Do we have another batch of good people to take their place? Do they know what they should know? Are they going to do what they should do? Do they, like my dad said, you know, you're old enough to know better. And I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if we have any left. And so, you know, we need you. And, you know, it's important. But we need to be creating more patriotic soldiers, because the fight's not going to be taken from us by Christ. We're going to have to do it ourselves. And it's this thing with Europe. They have lost control of Europe, and I don't know if one of those leaders over there seems to get the message. When you look at Holland from France, and you say he didn't have no sense of urgency, and Merkel from Germany, she's off her nut, and you say the people are just standing there and they're getting slaughtered. And you see, we don't know how many are here and when they're going. You know, the unpredictability of all this is you know, we can't ever know. And you never know when it's going to rear its ugly head, whether or not it's Twin or Detroit or wherever.
Well, you know, Randy, wouldn't you agree with me that because of the Obama administration, and because of Secretary of State John Kerry, and because of the liberal mindset that has permeated the White House and our politics of, oh, hey, the public, they just are getting too nervous. Oh, no, we're going to tell them, like Obama did last week, oh, my goodness sakes, come on, we're much safer than you're led to believe. No, we're not. Right now, while we were in Salt Lake City, I had a chance to talk to some people involved in security, and they have heightened everything around the campuses and around the hospital, around Salt Lake City. They are preparing for the worst because they are absolutely concerned that we're going to be seeing much more civil unrest in this country, and also they're very concerned about possible attacks from terrorism. So why are we, the public, told by the president that we're much safer than we are led to believe?
Well, last week John Kerry was in Europe for something. I don't know what he does. He just, truthfully speaking, these people are such, they have no principles, they have no work ethic, they couldn't care less. But he did say this, that global warming was a bigger threat than Muslim terrorism.
I know it.
He said this last week again.
Yeah, I know it.
And if I would have been standing there, I would like to blast him in the jaw. I would be in jail, and he would be a hero or something.
It's like I said last hour when Bob called in. I said, we've still got 178 days left of Obama. And Randy, honestly, I'm not trying to say the sky is falling. I'm not trying to play Chicken Little. But the fact is, in 178 days left of this administration, you are going to see, I think, many, many more things and items occur daily in the news, which may intimate that this man might try to impose more regulatory systems on us, the American public. And I'm also very concerned. Some of the folks that I talk to in Salt Lake that are involved in security keep using the phrase, look out for martial law. Look out for martial law. I am very concerned. I'm not saying the sky's falling, but you've got to be careful of this administration.
Well, and I know I got to go, but when I heard Trump speak, I was very apprehensive in the beginning.
Absolutely.
And as he began to speak, he was grounded. He wasn't being a prima donna. I felt that he was as sincere as you could possibly get. What he said, I agreed with. It all makes sense to me. And I can't be the only one who feels this way.
I agree.
And you say to yourself, after what he said, there was a time, and I know this sounds corny, but you see, you were so sick and tired of worrying when somebody says something that makes some logic, and he potentially could be the president of our country, and I wept because I say, maybe we can find somebody that will help us, and that's the reason why we got to get him elected. And so Ted Cruz, that prima donna, I said to myself, why, you low down, this is my opinion, and then Kasich doesn't come,
yeah,
and Bush just don't show up. You know what? We need to get him elected. And I'm going to hang up.
I agree with you, Randy, and thank you very much. I appreciate it. Hey, folks, I tell you what I've got to do right now. And Wheels, are you there? Turn your mic on for a minute, okay?
I am, sir.
All right, buddy. Now, here's the deal. My wife is standing over to my right, and she went out the barn and got my big bullwhip. And she's standing there about ready to pop the whip. If I don't stand up for a few minutes on this old leg that they operated on and let the blood flow a little bit, I'm going to ask you to tell Casey Maddox I'll be with him in a couple of minutes, but if you'd play a little song right now, don't anybody go away. I've got to stand up and kind of let things run their normal course, and then we'll be right back. Wheels, would you do that for me?
Yes, sir.
All right, buddy, thanks. Wheels, I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you. Wheels, get back on with your microphone for a minute. That was a great song, and I appreciate it very much.
No problem. I hope that works out and everything, and we got that lined up for the 10 o'clock hour, too.
All right, my friend. Thank you very much. See, the problem is, ladies and gentlemen, since I had the surgery, the doctors and my wife and everybody, they're kind of piling on, and they're saying, you got to stand up every half hour, and you've got to let that blood flow. I forgot the first hour, and Deanne came running in here, and she had a look of, never mind, her face was really contorted, and she let me know in no uncertain terms that I missed that break at 8:30. All that being said, I want to get on the phone line right now, and I want to say hello to a dear friend of this program, Casey Maddox with the Alliance Defending Freedom. Good morning, Casey. How are you?
Zeb, I'm doing great, and I have to point out that of all the songs to pick, you have Aaron Tippin's You've Got to Stand for Something when you're having to stand up to keep the blood flowing. That was a perfect song choice. It was inspired.
It was, and I compliment my buddy, my board operator and engineer Wheels for that good choice. And I apologize to you, Casey, for keeping you on hold. But every 30 minutes on this program, I just got out of the hospital. They want me to stand up and make sure that we don't have a clotting situation, and so I apologize for keeping you on hold on the phone.
No problem at all. It'll probably improved my day to have had an Aaron Tippin break.
There you go. What's going on at North Carolina State University? What's going on over there with a court battle about free speech?
Well, Zeb, the only permit that students need to speak on a university campus is the First Amendment. Fortunately, that's true for all of us. But unfortunately, NC State and a lot of public universities these days have not gotten the memo that the First Amendment already protects free speech. And so at NC State, what they wanted to say was every student has to have advance permission from the university 5 days in advance to be able to talk to any other student on campus.
Well, now, wait a minute. I thought that the colleges and universities were higher institutions of learning where ideas could be shared and speech could be between liberals and conservatives and everybody would garner their information. What's going on here? It sounds like a Gestapo tactic.
Well, you're of course right. I mean, the cornerstone of higher education is the ability to freely participate in a marketplace of ideas, right? People understand that when you go to college, you learn from your professors, you also learn from fellow students, and you're exposed to different ideas, and you learn how to make arguments. But on many college campuses these days, there's a lot more concern about the problem of students offending each other than a desire to actually have students learn from one another, and so they're shutting down student speech. And of course, one of the great concerns is that this isn't just a problem on the university campus. The people on those university campuses are the people that are going to be the government officials tomorrow and for years to come. So if they're learning these terrible lessons on a university campus now, then that's going to impact all of us.
Casey, what would they do? I mean, supposing I walked up to you on the campus and I said, God bless you, and we'd like you to come to a church service, or we'd like to talk about a rally, a Christian rally. What would they do to the students if they caught them?
Well, here's what happened at NC State, and this is typical of many universities. You have a nice broad policy that says everyone has to have advance permission to speak 5 days in advance. Now, that's ridiculous itself, and of course, a policy like that can't actually be enforced, right? If that was really enforced at NC State, the entire campus would be like the inside of a library. It would be silence all the time. But instead, what they do is they applied the policy to Grace Christian Life, this Christian student group that was sharing the gospel on campus. They were the ones who had the policy applied to them. Everybody else, of course, they just ignored the policy, but they applied it to Grace Christian Life.
So, as I was reading the information on this morning's program, there was one sentence that really stood out to me, and it was this, and I'm starting after the comma, when officials told members of the group that they needed a permit to speak with other students in the student union. Holy cow, Casey, things have changed since I went to college back in the 60s.
Right. Well, speech is not free, right? When students have to ask permission to speak and are limited to where they can speak on campus, that's not free speech. It's a very simple, basic concept, but unfortunately they've lost that on many public university campuses. Now, where we are in this case, now the positive side, is that this case got before a judge. The judge immediately recognized that this was an unconstitutional policy and told NC State that and enjoined the policy, prohibited them from enforcing it. And NC State has just settled the case this past week to change their policy to not require students to give advance notice to the university whenever they want to talk to one another.
Yeah, but Casey, this isn't the first time. I mean, we've heard stories like this, even here in my own state of Idaho at Boise State University. We've heard stories about this at other colleges and universities across the country. Why? Why, when it's defeated like it was here at North Carolina State, why do you still have to look out on the horizon and know as a lawyer for the Alliance Defending Freedom it's going to happen again? What's the major push? What are they afraid of?
Free speech on campus should be a no-brainer. But I think what we see on these university campuses is a desire for control. You have administrators who were the ones advocating for free speech when you were going to college, Zeb, back in the 60s. Those were the students who were advocating for free speech. They then became the administrators of these universities, and instead of respecting student free speech rights, they wanted control, and they see all these conservative students, the minority on college campuses, as the people whose voices they have to stifle. And they don't understand that they are now the government, right? These public university administrators are the government. The First Amendment applies to them, and they've never quite made that transition from being the outsider fighting against the man to, in fact, being the man who's stifling free speech on campus.
We have a caller with a question, and then I want to get into the fact of, whatever happened to our religious freedom and our free speech. I want to talk more to you about that in a moment. Caller, go ahead, please. You're on the air with Casey Maddox.
Yes, Casey. The thing that concerns me is that there needs to be a new generation of people that understand America, understand what it takes to be a good, patriotic American, and they're willing to put in the effort and fight the fight. And you say to yourself, are there any, other than Hillsdale College in Michigan, is there anywhere else that they're teaching these young people something other than environmentalism and micro whatever aggression and this stuff that is so distracting? We need to save our country. We're on the verge. Does anybody of these young students, does any of them know anything? Is there somewhere where we got some hope? Oh, hang on.
All right, caller, thank you very much. Casey, go ahead and respond if you would, please.
Sure. You raise a very serious concern, and that's exactly why we think it's so important to protect free speech on university campuses, because what happens on campus doesn't stay on campus, right? These are the people who will end up being the government officials responsible for the EPA and the Department of Justice and other entities later on. And so if they have the idea that the First Amendment is a wonderful starting point, but there's a big caveat to it, and its speech can be prohibited if some administrator thinks it ought to be prohibited, then that's going to impact all of us. And so that's why we can't leave it to just a few colleges to be the bastions of freedom. We have to make sure that these public university campuses around the country are respecting free speech. It's an uphill battle, but it's a battle we have to win, because otherwise all these other battles we're fighting are just bailing out a leaky boat. We have to make sure that we stop the problem where it starts, and that's on the public university campus.
Casey, this all goes back, I think, to the fraudulent statement and fraudulent belief of the separation of church and state, which there is no such thing. And you would think that smart people, educated people, collegiate people, university leaders would understand what really happened way back in the 1700s. There was no separation of church and state. It's not in our Constitution, but yet they keep holding that banner up and saying, there's got to be a separation of church and state. Why are we so gullible, and why hasn't that been laughed out of town?
Well, and I attended Mr. Jefferson's University, UVA, where we actually had, back in the early days of UVA, they had worship services in the dome room of the rotunda on grounds at UVA. So this mentality, you're right, that this mentality is wrong. I think that's exactly the problem, though, that we see from this stifling of free speech on campus. When you prohibit free speech on campus, then you don't allow for the truth to rise up and for people to be actually informed what the truth is, right? You end up with these myths that take hold because you're not allowing a true exchange of ideas. My belief is we don't have to worry about other belief systems because if we are truly creating a marketplace of ideas, I think that my ideas are going to win, and I think that those of your viewers, your listeners, I think if we're able to truly air our views and have them heard, we're going to win on the facts. And so that's what I want to see on public university campuses. Is for that to take hold.
Is there a growing kind of a groundswell of support for free speech in this country, or is it on the other side of the coin? Do people really care anymore about the First Amendment?
I think a lot of people do, and I think you're seeing, even in this election cycle, a lot of people very concerned about the sort of mentality we're seeing from our government. And the failure to respect the Constitution. I think that's a very real thing, and at least that is a hopeful sign out of this election that people are dissatisfied with the lip service that they're seeing paid to the Constitution. But that's, we have to make sure that on the public university campus, as a starting point, that free speech is firmly protected. And that's what we're working every day to make sure that that those rights are at least protected on the university campus, and that's a place where these ideas can take hold and can impact the rest of society.
Absolutely. One of the very best and one of the very nicest of the Alliance Defending Freedom group, and they're all fine people, and that's Casey Maddox. Thank you, Casey, for being on the program, and I'll look forward to having you back in the future.
All right. Thank you much.
God bless, man. Thanks. Really, really nice people, and they're staying on top of things and helping all of us. The Alliance Defending Freedom, I thank them very much. Well, you know what? It's time for the weather, and the lovely Gina Jameson is going to give us a kind of a weather forecast that is kind of like a mixed bag of nuts. Let's take a listen to it. Good morning.
Here is your weather as we get ready to saddle up and right on into another work week here at Zeb at the Ranch. And we've got this high-pressure system that is going to be sticking around southern Idaho at least for the next week and a half. So your weather forecast is going to be a little on the redundant side. Here's what it is. Sunny skies, highs are going to be in the mid to upper 90s. Lows are going to be in the mid-50s. For today, looking at sunny skies, high of 94. Yesterday's high was 86. The overnight low was 50. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
She does a great job. Thank you very much, Gina, with the weather forecast. And we have the weather every hour on this program. And when we start the program off at 8:06, also a weather forecast brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Poor Hillary. Oh, my goodness. Did you see the interview that she had with CBS, Scott Pelley? She was sitting there with her vice presidential pick, Tim Kaine, and Scott Pelley asked her a question, and she said, "Oh, I feel so picked on, and I feel like I'm held to a higher standard. Oh, wow, poor Hillary." Do you feel that way? My goodness sakes, here is a woman. And boy, I'm going to have to watch my language here. Here is a woman that has been involved in so many scandals. Here is a woman that has been involved in money laundering and money corruption. Here is a woman that the name Clinton, along with her big husband Bill Bubba, they've caused and created a lot of problems for others. And here is a woman that is running for president that absolutely now is playing the sympathy card. I knew it was going to come out. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to find the program and the tape. I got to call my webmaster, John Ellis, and see if we can find that. I talked about this about 4 months ago, about how sooner or later she would come out and play the poor picked-on Hillary card, and that's exactly what she's doing right now. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning again, Beth. I've got a nickname for the Democratic team now. It's Kane and Unable.
I agree with you.
Yeah, because I don't think she'd be able to execute the office of the presidency. I think she would fold like a house of cards, man.
What did you think about the pick for Vice President Tim Kaine? Go ahead.
That's all I had to say.
All right, sir. Well, God bless you, and thank you for your call. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Have a good day.
You betcha, sir. I'm really wondering what's going to come out of this Democratic National Convention. Now, am I going to watch? I had somebody call during the break, and they say, well, are you going to pay as much attention to the Democratic National Convention as you did to the Republican National Convention? I got to be fair, okay? I probably would have not watched and listened to as much of the Republican National Convention had it not been for the surgery and the not being able to get away from the TV. Now, that being said, I did learn a lot. I did learn a lot about what's going on in the Republican Party. I did learn a lot about the reunification of the Republican Party. I did call a lot of people involved in not only the National Convention, but also what's going on structurally across the United States. And quite frankly, I thought the speech the last night of the convention delivered by Donald Trump, I said this first hour, it bears repeating, I don't like Donald Trump. Okay, but he is the nominee. And I will support him because I absolutely am fearful down to my toenails about Hillary Clinton winning the election as presidency and carrying on the Obama tradition for at least 4 years and possibly 8. I don't think this country can withstand that. And I said earlier, and somebody called me on it and said, oh, come on. I said that if Hillary wins the presidency and we see another 12 years continuance of Obama's policies or worse, I don't think we'll ever see a conservative or a Republican elected again in the future. I don't. Because the gimme, wannabe attitude of the Democrats. Here, take this. The government will take care of you. Here, we'll give you that. Here, stand there with your tin cup. We'll take care of you. I think that liberalism will be absolutely like a growing cancer in this country. Never to see conservatism and, quite frankly, honest, hardworking people take back our country. I don't think it's ever going to happen if Hillary is elected. Now, this wah-wah attitude that she has, oh my goodness, you could almost see the tears building up in the baggage under her eyes. And, well, I feel like I'm being picked on. I feel like everybody's holding me to a higher standard. Wait a minute. This is the same woman that escaped the scrutiny I think that was very necessary and worth prosecuting on the emails. This is the same woman that has been behind the scenes one of the worst and hardest to work for people ever in government. I have some news stories here, and there was one in particular that I wanted to comment on, and I hope I can find that. It recently came up. Yeah, here it is. And I'm almost hesitant to give you this story, but it's by a very reputable source. And 3 eyewitnesses have alleged that Hillary called an aide to her administration and her as Secretary of State, called this aide a blanking Jew blank. Now, this is verbiage from Hillary Clinton. And it's been verified by 3 eyewitnesses and also reported on by the Daily Caller. This woman is not at all what she appears to be. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
Zeb, long-lost friend. It's been a long time since we've talked. Marty Mickelson.
Well, my goodness sakes, I forgot your voice. How are you?
Great. I'm just driving through Twin today and got your program, but I got a couple things that I was in Ohio and actually in Fort Atkinson, Wisconsin last week in your hometown, and had to stop at your old place NASCO and get a few show supplies. But in Ohio, I sat down with one of the guys I do a lot of business with, and his daughter is she voted for Obama and that, and I know she's very liberal, and I asked her, and I mean, she's a farm girl, grew up on a farm and that, and I says, is there anything that Hillary can do to keep you from voting for her? All of the guys in the office left, except for her father and her, because they all looked at me like, oh my heck, you're getting into politics with her? And she said, no, there's nothing she can do.
Really?
And I said, Benghazi, well, you know, you guys read Fox News and you read this and that, and you don't know the whole story. You know, she really didn't have that much to do with that. You know, there's a chain of command. I mean, anything that, I mean, they can spin that stuff any way they want.
Yeah.
And I asked her again, there's nothing. She says, no, there's nothing that she can do that I won't vote for her.
But really, Marty, when you ask questions like that and they give you that kind of an answer, there's nothing she can do not to get her vote. Would you ask them, look them right in the eye and say, okay, but what has she done to deserve your vote?
And I haven't gone that far, but it's I don't know, it's just frustrating. They don't, yeah, I don't know. It drives me nuts.
Well, I want to ask you if
she hasn't done anything to deserve their votes. She has one thing. She's a woman and she's a Democrat. And
yeah.
She's gonna get more votes than just because of those two reasons.
I agree with you. You know, Marty, I've been gone for about 3 weeks. I had surgery down in your area, your neck of the woods, and I would really appreciate it if you get a chance later on to call me on my cell phone. I'd love to visit with you. I've got a couple of questions for you. I'm running out of time this hour, but I'd love to talk to you, my dear friend. God bless you.
All right. Let me put one more thing in there just real quick. That would be absolutely fantastic is if when they were debating Trump and Hillary, and when she brings up the tax returns, all that Trump needs to say is, oh, Hillary, yeah, tax returns. I've emailed them to you.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was...
All right.
Great.
Dear friend, Marty Mickelson.
Friend, have a good day. We'll catch the rest of the program.
All right, buddy. God bless you. A very, very good friend right there, Marty Mickelson. I haven't talked to him or seen him for quite a few years. Good to hear from him traveling through this area. Well, as you know, we're going to go to the CBS News right now, and then we're going to come back with Katie Brown, Energy in Depth, and she's a spokesperson for that organization. We're going to have her on the air at 10:06. Yours truly has to stand up and let the blood flow a little bit, and we'll be back in about 6 minutes. Don't go away. Zeb at the Ranch. Oh, my. I've got to be honest with you. This getting back in the saddle and riding for 3 hours is a little tough. I'm not used to it. Good morning, everybody. Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And they are our major sponsor for this program. Thank you very much. Along with some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call, get on the route service today. Get rid of your garbage. Call 734-6969. Before we get our next guest on the program, I also want to acknowledge the fact that Cameron and Siemens Insurance is waiting and ready to serve you with all your life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning ideas, employee benefit plans. They've got it all, and all you have to do is call them for an appointment today at 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. The whole crew over there dedicated and responsive to your needs at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Really nice people. Let's go to the phone line right now. And a lady that's been on our program in the past, and we'll probably have her back if she'll come back in the future, and that's Katie Brown. And she is the team leader and spokesperson for Energy in Depth. Good morning, Katie. How are you?
Good morning. It's great to be with you.
You know, Katie, before we go into the subject matter this morning, tell me a little bit about Energy in Depth. What is the grouping Energy in Depth? What do you try to do, and what's your main goal?
Sure thing. Energy in Depth is a program of the Independent Petroleum Association of America. And so we work with the independent producers, the small producers, and we are a research and education program, and so if you ever want to know anything about fracking or shale development, there's a lot of misinformation out there with, there are a lot of activists pushing misinformation, and so if you want to get the facts, you can come to our website, which is energyindepth.org.
You know, Katie, why is it, and I am just really getting upset, especially with the liberals and the Democrats, primarily with them, there seems to be such a unknowledgeable hate against energy. They don't know what they're talking about. They go out and they spew their hatred to everybody. Oh, we've got to stop fossil fuels. Oh, we've got to stop fracking. They even came out recently in USA Today, and they said that fracking causes asthma. Would you please tell me where these kooks and crackpots are coming from?
Well, that was a study that came out last week, and if you want to go to our website, we have all the facts about that study. And in reality, when you look at the data, if you look at the counties that are closest to shale wells in Pennsylvania, they have far lower rates of asthma hospitalizations than counties that are far away from shale development. So those are the facts, and this is a study that was done by a researcher who has close ties to the Post-Carbon Institute, which is an anti-fracking group. They've called fracking a virus, and they're very, very clear on their website that they don't want any fracking going on. So,
you know, look, Katie,
that's the kind of bias that you're getting here in that study.
Every day when you go to your office, and honestly, I'm not trying to paint you into a corner here to tell us all your works and everything you do, but every day when you go to your office, you must sit back and you've got to be almost, oh brother, here we go again with the idiots on the left that think that we can all of a sudden just divorce ourselves of the use of fossil fuels and fracking, etc. We need energy. The wind and the solar projects have been going down the toilet as far as being cost effective. Why can't these stupid people understand we need energy or we're going to go under as a third world country?
Well, what's very interesting about it is that the folks who are pushing that claim that we can just transition 100% to clean energy tomorrow are the fringe activists. They're very much on the fringe, and we know this because if you look at the Democratic National Convention, these folks are protesting people who they're protesting their own party because their own party doesn't even espouse what they want. You know, for instance, President Obama's top science advisor, John Holdren, just said recently that the notion that we're going to keep it all on the ground is unrealistic, and that's a direct quote. John Podesta, who is now Hillary Clinton's campaign chair, told activists that they're being completely impractical to say that you can just switch it off today and go to 100% clean energy. So they've had a lot of pushback from Democrats, and that's how much on the fringe they are. You can really see that.
Yeah, but Katie, I go, yeah, but Katie, look at the problem that's going on in the universities and colleges. Look at the liberal left loons that call themselves professors. Look at the millennials that are buying into this, leave it in the ground. Look at the problem. Look at the revolts. Look at the uprisings. These people are causing problems.
Certainly the Keep It in the Ground movement is not living in reality, and they're very much on the margins of this debate because Americans understand that we need energy, and they see the benefits of it in terms of jobs, in terms of energy security, in terms of lower energy prices every day when you turn on your air conditioner because it's 103 degrees outside. So.
Well, yeah, but okay, but now what about the media? You know, I've criticized the millennials. I've criticized higher education at the universities and colleges with the professors and everything. I'm also going to point my finger at the media. I think they're in bed with the liberalism of just nothing but solar and wind. Am I wrong?
Well, the asthma study was a good example of often what happens in the media. Often they're sent a press release from an anti-fracking group, and oftentimes they will just report exactly what the press release says and put very little scrutiny into it. When you actually look into the study and look at the data and provide a bit of scrutiny to what these folks are saying, then you realize that the study doesn't actually hold up to scrutiny. So that's often what happens, and that's another reason why Energy in Depth exists, because we're able to, inform the media of, these things that they may not necessarily have dug up themselves. The actual facts.
Okay, but that's all well and good, but now what about the media? I mean, are you personally, Katie, are you trying to get on CBS with Scott Pelley? Are you personally trying to get on NBC's Today Show? Are you personally trying to get on Fox and Friends? Are you trying to get your message out? Are you trying to be heard? Or won't they let you on the air?
Oh, we've absolutely been on a lot of different shows at different times. We speak to reporters every day. There's definitely a dialogue. It's just that sometimes it's very easy for a reporter to just take a press release and write it up. Our job is to keep the media accountable, to actually know the facts and report the facts.
Okay, now, what about this convention? What about the Democratic convention going on in Philly right now? What are you doing to maybe counteract or counterbalance some of the fraudulent statements that will come out of there, especially with the Democratic liberal platform?
Well, absolutely. You'll see some op-eds from us this week, and if you check our website, we often have posts on these kinds of things, and it's very interesting to see it all play out because it is a very fringe movement, and not many people agree with what they want. They want an overall ban on fracking. They want a ban on all oil and gas development, and that's just completely impractical, as many Democrats have said over and over. So that just goes to show how much on the fringe they are.
If Hillary wins this election, and God help us all if that happens, but if she wins this election, what are some of the absolute negatives that you think will come forth as far as energy are concerned?
Well, one very interesting thing about Hillary Clinton is that she has acknowledged in the past that it's because of natural gas that greenhouse gas emissions have plummeted in the United States. That's also something that Tim Kaine, her vice presidential candidate, has said. He said that we didn't sign on to Kyoto protocols. We didn't engage with cap and trade or any of these other very expensive regulations, and yet we're the only country in the world that has significantly reduced greenhouse gas emissions. That's something that he said himself. So both of them have been on record saying that. And that goes completely against what these activists want, which is to keep it all on the ground.
Yeah, but what about the coal industry? I have a lot of friends back on the East Coast. I have a lot of friends that work in the coal industry. I have a lot of friends right now that are unemployed. I have friends that are going to be unemployed. Here we have a network of electricity across this country where coal plays about 40% as a contributor to our electric grids. Where in the world are we going to get that other power from when they absolutely, Hillary and the rest of her goons, kill the coal industry?
That's a good question. Coal is obviously a very important part of the energy makeup of this country. Energy in Depth itself is only focused on oil and gas development, so we don't jump into the coal issue as much. But, of course, in all of the above, energy policy is the best way forward, and fossil fuels are, the huge section of that right now and will be for the foreseeable future.
Well, what about the fact, Katie, okay, let's talk about ExxonMobil. Let's talk about fracking. Let's talk about the coal industry. Let's talk about energy in general. This country is so rich. God has blessed us with an abundance of natural resources, literally, that we could go for thousands of years on our own coattails without having to depend on some Arab sheik at an oasis over in the Middle East. Why aren't we using and utilizing and progressing our own energy without these liberals standing in the way? Why don't we just step over them?
We are certainly, developing as much as we can. I know that oil prices have kind of made the environment less of a boom than it was perhaps a year ago. But what we're seeing is that producers are still very resilient because they have really improved technologies that make it a lot cheaper to develop what in a way that they couldn't do a few years ago even. And so we're seeing lots of strides, and we're seeing every day, basically, it seems like almost every day we're hearing about more reserves in the United States that we didn't know we had. And it's just an incredible amount of abundance in the United States. And it means that, we can be completely energy secure because of the resources that we have. And that's a huge blessing, and I think Americans understand that because they see, our imports from the Middle East have plummeted because of this, and it's such a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, on another note, I was reading the cheat sheet about having you on the program this morning, and I understand that you're writing a book. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, gosh. Well, it's actually a book on James Joyce, so it's not to do with energy at all, but James Joyce, the Irish writer. So hopefully that will be finished soon. I'm almost there.
Let me ask you a question. Give my audience a little background on James Joyce quickly, and then we'll take a call. Tell us a little bit about the man and why you chose him as a topic for a book.
Oh, gosh. Well, he's a very interesting writer because he innovated the narrative form, and he's also close to my heart because he put a lot of music into his text, and I'm very interested in music as well, so that's what my book is about.
Okay. All right, we have a caller with...
and cultural memory in Joyce's work.
I see. Well, we have a caller with a question. Stand by. Caller, go ahead. You're on the air, please.
Yeah, I'd like to just quickly say this. I have a friend who lives in Price, Utah, which is totally dependent on coal mining there. I would like to see Hillary go there and make her little speech. How would you think that would work?
All right. Katie, what about that? I mean, Hillary, it's easy to stand up at a meeting of your Democratic peers and say, well, I'm going to kill the coal industry, but why doesn't she go to the sources? Why doesn't she look into the eyes of the dads and the moms that are going to be unemployed? Why doesn't she look at the communities that are going to lose all their businesses? I doubt seriously if many of those or any of those are going to vote for Hillary for president.
Oh, well, it'll be certainly interesting to see. But again, Energy in Depth isn't a coal website. We focus all on oil and gas. So I'm not sure I'd be able to give you a very in-depth answer on that. But again, certainly fossil fuels are hugely important in the energy mix, and this is an effort by an entire group of fringe activists who want to keep everything in the ground. That means oil, gas, coal, all fossil fuels.
Right.
These are all things that have been called completely impractical by even Democrats and Republicans alike.
Let me ask you this last question here this morning regarding fracking. Where are we in this country in utilizing this activity to help promote better energy? I mean, are we at the very beginning stages? Are we like at 10%, 30%, 40%? Are there more areas that are better for fracking than others that would create more of an energy resource? Give me a little background on that.
Sure. So fracking occurs in areas where we have deep shale. So some of those areas are obviously in Texas, Pennsylvania, Colorado. This is where we have these amazing, prolific shale deposits that a long time, well, even just a few years ago, were very hard to get to. But what happened was producers put the technology of horizontal drilling together with the technology of fracking. Both of those technologies have been around for quite some time, but putting them together was what created this amazing boom in production. It allowed us to get to these shale resources that were before too expensive to tap, basically. So technology is just improving incredibly fast. If you remember when the Saudis decided not to decrease production because they wanted prices to stay low,
right,
so that they could stifle American production a little bit. Well, what happened was producers just continued to refine their technologies, and so it's so much cheaper now to drill and frack than it was even a couple of years ago. So that kept the production profitable, and it kept our shale development alive in this country, and it's still thriving, even in a lower price environment. So I mean, it's an incredible feat what producers have been able to do, and it's been hugely beneficial to all Americans.
You're right. Katie, when it comes to the environmentalists in this country and around the globe that come out and condemn fracking, they condemn any kind of energy research or development, do they have a leg to stand on? I've studied fracking a little bit, and honestly, I don't see what in the world it could possibly do to harm the environment. Please educate me.
No, it doesn't. I mean, even the Environmental Protection Agency last year finished their 5-year study of groundwater and fracking, and they found that there were no widespread systemic impacts to drinking water resources. Like, that is the seminal study on fracking now. And it finds that, what activists are saying is completely wrong. Not only that, but it's because of fracking that our greenhouse gas emissions have gone down, our air pollution has gone down. It's actually very, very good for the environment when you think about all of these environmental benefits. You're never going to have a form of energy development that doesn't have a footprint on the land or an environmental footprint at all. But what you have with fracking is something that's safe and brings huge environmental benefits as well.
I really enjoyed having you on the program. Katie Brown, the team leader and spokesperson for Energy in Depth, and she's also writing a book. Thank you for coming on the program, and we'll have you back in the future.
Thank you so much.
All right, have a great day. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Very, very sharp young lady, and she's served as a press secretary and speechwriter for the Republican minority on the U.S. Senate Committee, and she's a native of Montana, as a matter of fact. I forgot to mention that to her, a Big Sky, Montana cowgirl, and she holds a Ph.D. in 20th century Irish English literature, and she's writing a book, so she is pretty sharp. Right now, I want to remind everybody that on Thursdays we have a segment on this program called School Days in Cassia County, and we're very, very appreciative of the fact that our sponsors of that segment are A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley, along with the Ambulatory Surgery Center in Burley. First of all, with A Child's World, don't forget, boy, oh boy, they've got all kinds of great, great low prices for you. For $10, you can get a two-piece outfit for a child, newborn to age 2. My goodness sakes, and gift wrapping and hold everything on layaway. What a great place to shop. A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. Along with the Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley, life-saving colonoscopies by a board-certified specialist at the Ambulatory Surgery Center. Don't forget also glaucoma surgery with the only machine for glaucoma in all of southern Idaho. Call them, find out more, 677-8888. They're located at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley, the Ambulatory Surgery Center, and A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley, and they, of course, are the sponsors of School Days in Cassia County. We're going to get ready to send it back over to Wheels in just a moment, and coming up at 10:32 or thereabouts, we're going to have a gentleman on the program by the name of Deacon Keith Fournier, and he's going to be talking about Christianity in this country and also the Johnson Amendment. Now, I had to read up on this and find out a little bit about it, but the Johnson Amendment is an amendment that was passed by Lyndon Baines Johnson that would try to muzzle pastors and what they can or can't say up at the pulpit on Sunday morning. So we're going to have Deacon Keith Fournier on our program this next half hour, and we don't want you to go away. Tomorrow, don't forget, being Tuesday, right here in the studio will be the one, the only Dr. History. Dr. Ken Turner will be here tomorrow morning at 10:06 for that world, and I mean that world-famous segment, Dr. History. Right now, let's send it back over to Wheels at our main station. I'll be back in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Oh, my goodness. Really, I thank the good Lord above that I didn't know if I'd be able to make it a full 3 hours for the first time on the air. I feel really pretty good, especially with my wife cracking the whip saying, stand up for a few minutes. There you go, okay. But I certainly do appreciate it and all your kind thoughts and letters, emails, everything. Thank you. Let's go right to the phone line because we have a guest waiting for us, and we have Deacon Keith Fournier. I'm going to see if I said the name right. Now, I said Fournier because I knew some bull riders and bronc riders from down in Louisiana that qualified for the national finals years ago, and I don't know, he might be a distant relative. Let's see. Good morning, sir. Are you on the air?
I couldn't get him on, sir.
You couldn't get him on?
No, sir. I ended up calling both numbers, and I had to leave a voicemail for both of them.
Keep trying, and we'll try from here also, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Keep trying away. Up until then, goody, this puts me in kind of a pickle this morning, so we're hoping we can get a hold of that gentleman and get him on the air. But give me a call at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Like to hear what you have to say, so give us a jingle on the landline. Coming up in a matter of days, a very, very good friend of mine is going to be speaking in Twin Falls, and I want to highlight this a little bit. Brigitte Gabriel, an American patriot, is going to be speaking at the Roper Auditorium on Filer Avenue on August 4th at 7 p.m. And it's free admission, and I urge you, and I mean this, I underline the word urge. You hear so much of the liberal concepts about, all the refugees are just fine and dandy. This is just great. We really don't have anything to worry about. Stop right there. I have not only had Brigitte Gabriel on my program many, many times, she has been on many of the top programs nationwide, Hannity, O'Reilly, etc. And we have a friendship, and she absolutely is a very well-informed speaker as to what, honestly, is going on in this world with a jihad, a Muslim influence, and terrorism. She knows all about it because she's lived through it. Now, you can read stories in the newspaper. You can listen to members of the Twin Falls City Council. You can listen to those that are part of the refugee center at CSI, and you can kind of weigh their balderdash and their very prejudiced viewpoints, but you want to hear the truth. You want to hear the truth. And so I'm urging you to be in attendance on August 4th at the Roper Auditorium on Filer Avenue in Twin Falls and listen to the truth from Brigitte Gabriel. And she's going to be speaking there at no charge. So I urge you to be a part of that on August 4th. Now, we had a guest scheduled. We don't know where he is. Wheels is still trying to get a hold of him. Did you manage to get anybody at that number?
No, sir, I wasn't.
Uh-oh. Well, keep trying, buddy, because there's trouble in River City, all right? Okay. And I'll take your calls, and we'll talk about anything you want to talk about for the remainder of this half hour if we don't get that guest. I do have a question for you folks out in the audience, and I'd like you to weigh in on it. This past week in the USA Today, it has come to the forefront for the Olympics in Rio de Janeiro that transgenderism may be a big part of the Olympics for this year. I want to talk about that in just a few minutes and ask you some questions. But right now, let's go to the phone line. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, Zep. Marty calling back. I hear you got a dead spot for a minute. I can fill a little bit of time and answer some questions about what it looks like out across the Midwest and stuff like that. If you're, we could entertain you for a minute, I guess.
Yeah, Marty, I'm glad you called back. I really do, because I appreciate your friendship and I appreciate your opinion. You travel all over this United States, and you're not talking to the three-piece suits and the wingtip shoes. You're talking to the real live people out there in the hinterland, whether it's back in the upper Midwest, but whether it's in the East, the South, or whatever. What really do you hear as far as this presidential election? What are you hearing out there as you travel all over the United States?
Well, most of the people that I deal with are conservative, and I know that, like in Ohio, those people were Kasich supporters, and I think he's a pretty good guy, and I know you know him personally on that through the verses and stuff like that, but. And people have their own, whether it was Rubio or Ted Cruz and stuff, and there's a lot of different opinions. But I think that the thing that I found is people have kind of come together, and they're gonna support Trump, whether that was your first choice or not. And maybe it's not that we like Trump. I personally think he'll do fine. But the flip side of that, Hillary is a disaster. We may not know what we're going to get with Trump, but we sure on the heck know what we're going to get with Hillary. And none of it's good.
Well, when you take a look at all the different philosophies and policies that she has espoused to carry on basically the Obama tradition, whether it's energy or whether it's national security or whether it's higher taxes. And by the way, I should point out at this juncture, Marty, the tax plans for both of the candidates came out. Donald Trump's tax plan would lower taxes for Americans and give us more money back in our Wranglers. And the tax plan for Hillary would be much higher, and we'd be supporting a lot more of the Democratic wannabes that want to keep a tin cup in their hand. What are your thoughts?
Well, taxes, when we go out, we look for the lowest gas price. And when we go across the country, I know that if I get gas in Missouri, it's cheaper. Illinois is high. We look for those spots. The least amount of taxes benefits those that do business. We're doing business with the companies that where it benefits our company. So,
right.
That's a good policy. Now, if I was Trump, and I spent a lot of windshield time, and I'm sitting here looking. I've got a truck that's 3.5 months old. Zeb, I got 58,000 miles on it, so that's plenty of windshield time. But if I was Trump, I would go out right now and I'd name my cabinet right now, and I'd say Trey Gowdy is going to be my Attorney General. You want to think that'd make Hillary nervous?
Absolutely.
I'd go for Ben Carson. I'd get all those people that are really sharp, and I'd say this is the cabinet you're going to get with Trump.
Yeah. Let me ask you.
Obama's problem is he went out and got his cronies and his best friends to be the heads of these departments. Trump is not that way. Trump is smart enough. He's got a big enough ego already that he's going to get the people that are going to do the best job.
Yeah.
You know, Obama didn't want anybody in there smarter than him. Whether you like Trump or not, Trump thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, whether he is or not. So nobody that he can get is going to make him feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, but Marty, would you agree with this? You know, it's so easy for the liberals and the Democrats and those that don't like Trump. They say, well, he's going to be so pushy. He's going to be so headstrong. He's going to take everything and it's got to be his way or the highway. Wait a minute. I know people that work for the Trump business machine, and I know that they have to have good managers. I know they have to have good people that are in control in various departments. It's not just Donald Trump. In the case of being a multi-billionaire, he has proven, whether it's a golf course or whether it's a casino or whether it's a high-rise in New York City, he has proven that he's put the best people in to manage the business and make it profitable.
Absolutely, and isn't that what we're hiring, the CEO of the United States of America? And we need the best guy that we can get him. And I mean, he's it for now. I mean, that's what we've got, and we need to get all behind him and support him. If I could wrap this pickup with Trump stickers and my trailers, man, I'd be all over that.
Let me
I get egged when I drive through Chicago, and it wouldn't be any different. I've been flipped off a few times anyway because I've got a Romney sticker on the back of it and a piss on Obama below it. So that got me a ticket one night. But anyway, we're hiring a CEO of the country, and we've got to get behind him and support him.
Okay, now let me ask you this. I don't know if you had time to take in any of the Republican National Convention last week, but I said in the first hour, Marty, that I must have been seeing a different convention than what CNN, ABC, CBS, and NBC saw, because I saw every speech. I heard every speech. I listened to the general complexion of what went on back there. And I listened intently the last night to Donald Trump when he gave an hour and 14-minute speech. I found it that he touched on all the things America has to do to be tougher. I found all the things that he said about how America has to become greater, and I heard all the things that he said America has to put themselves first and then help others. And the Democrats, after the speech was over, they said it was dark and foreboding. They must have heard another speech that I heard.
Well, I agree with that, and I was listening to the national show this morning, and that guy had been at the Republican convention, and he was headed to the Democratic convention, and what I got from him was he said, well, he says they had so much decisiveness and different things. You know, the only good day was the last day, and this and that controversy. And he said, then they're trying to get Bernie on first, and that so that the last day they can go out and bang. They don't want any of that stuff. But I think the Bernie supporters, and especially with this Debbie Wasserman Schulz stuff that's gone on today, those Bernie guys are going to be fired up when they get there.
Yeah, that's right. Let me ask you a couple of questions here real quick, short answers on these because I've got to get a weather forecast in. But when you heard that John Kasich, and I thought, by the way, let me preface my remarks by saying my feelings. When John Kasich did not go to the convention, and he's the governor of Ohio, I thought that was extremely low class. I thought what Ted Cruz did at the convention was extremely low class. I thought others in the Republican Party, by not being in attendance or showing unity, that was in poor taste and low class. Do you agree with me or not?
I do agree, and it's going to cost both of those guys their political futures.
I agree with that.
Any hope that Ted Cruz ever had of being president is gone.
You know, when you look at the overall pick of Mike Pence, and one of my dear friends that's on the air every Wednesday from Indianapolis, Indiana, is Dave Bego, and Dave Bego is a close friend of Mike Pence. Now, you as an agricultural person, you as a person that travels all over the United States of America, what are your thoughts about the tickets right now as they stand? Mike Pence, Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, and Tim Kaine. What are your thoughts about this as far as how they line up against each other?
Well, as far as the personal individuals, there's it's night and day. There's no question on integrity. There's no question on their individual politics. And we lean conservative, and so some liberals are going to take offense to that. But it's like night and day. It's kind of like the little kid said. His kittens used to be Democrats, but now they're Republican. And the guy says, "Well, what do you mean?" He says, "Well, they're 6 weeks old, and now they got their eyes open."
Marty, one last thought here, Marty, before I have to run. But as you go around, where are you headed next on your next road trip?
I'm gonna spend a week or two at home. I've got a guy loading Wednesday in Minnesota, going to Mexico with a load of brown Swiss heifers, going down to the Laredo Mexican border. But we got county fair in Grace this week, and then our Cass County next week. So, I got some nephews, a son with the steer, and we're gonna kind of stay close to home and that. So,
okay, but my question.
One thing real quick is in the last week I've really noticed that out through the Midwest now, South Dakota is an exception to the rule. They're really dry there, but the corn and the soybeans all across that Midwest look fantastic.
Yeah.
Corn's higher than you could reach. It really looks good.
Marty, stand by. I think we've got another caller calling in. Might want to ask you a question, so stay on the air. Don't hang up. Caller, quickly, go ahead. You're on the air. Go ahead, please. Evidently not. Marty, do me a little favor, and when you do take off in the next couple of days to go for another road trip, kind of get a general kind of a number, like so many numbers were in favor of Trump, so many numbers were in favor of Hillary. Kind of give us a percentage. This morning the new polls came out, and they showed that Donald Trump really got a bump, and he's leading Hillary right now across the United States, 48-45. But what was really interesting, Marty, is that Donald Trump really shot up with independents. He leads Hillary 46% to 28%. I'd kind of like you to give us an on-the-road survey and let us know what's going on.
I'll absolutely do that.
Well, God bless you. It's good to hear from you. Marty Mickelson down in Utah. God bless and have a wonderful day, and call me again real soon.
Hey, we'll do it.
All right, buddy. Thank you. There is a longtime friend, and hadn't heard from him for many, many months. Actually, it's been a couple of years, I guess, and it's really good to hear from him again. I do not know what happened to our guest, Mr. Keith Fournier, but we're going to do some check-in. Might have him on the program for tomorrow. So, again, thanks to Marty Mickelson for calling in as he's touring through this area headed home to Utah. Time for the weather, and the weather is brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Caller, I'm going to ask your indulgence. Stay with me just a minute. I'm going to finish this weather forecast. We'll be right with you. Don't forget, Scarrows Meats in Jerome. It's time to clean out your freezer, bring your wild game meat to Scarrows, and they can make it into salami and pressed jerky or pepperoni sticks. Oh, they are good. Scarrows Meats in Jerome. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here is your weather as we get ready to saddle up and right on into another work week here at Zeb at the Ranch. And we've got this high-pressure system that is going to be sticking around southern Idaho at least for the next week, week and a half. So your weather forecast is going to be a little on the redundant side. Here's what it is. Sunny skies. Highs are going to be in the mid to upper 90s. Lows are going to be in the mid 50s. For today, looking at sunny skies, high of 94. Yesterday's high was 86. The overnight low was 50. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Great job, Gina. Thank you very much. Brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Caller, thank you for your patience. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Ted, and welcome back.
Well, Tony, how's my buddy?
I'm doing very well. What I want to get at is, comparing, one of the reasons why I left the East Coast, because I got tired of all this left-wing stuff that was going on. And I was really disappointed to find out how heavily Democratic Idaho is. And what's going on at CSI?
I don't think it's just CSI, but when you look at the Boise area, Caldwell, Nampa, we've seen a transition of thinking and thought up there to more liberalism and more backing of a liberal nature in this country. And it's scary, Tony, because we're losing our values, I think. We're losing the value of our Constitution, and we're losing the morals and some of the values that we were all raised with. And I don't like what I'm seeing.
Well, I got a taste of socialism and all this garbage growing up in New York. One of the main reasons why I moved out west is because I figured men were men, and they never put up with anything like this.
Well, it's
going to be a disappointment. This CSI has fallen in with the Obama administration, and they're getting millions of dollars to import all these people in here to build up an educational empire. And that's what's going to kill this area.
Well, it's at our expense in many ways when I use the word expense. It's at our financial expense, and it could be at our security expense. And I agree with you that until we get a better vetting system and we find out so much more about these people that are coming in carte blanche with the Obama administration, and unfortunately, it looks like it might continue with greater numbers if Hillary wins. I'm scared, Tony. I think our security and all the fears and concerns are justified.
Well, we got these people, the terrorists are coming in through the southern border, up through South America.
Yeah.
Right into our area right now. We've got more strange people running around Twin Falls than I've ever seen since I've been living here.
Well, I can't agree with you more. I want to extend to you and your lovely wife, Mary, the very best. You folks mean a lot to Deanne and I. God bless you, and thank you for your call.
Oh, you're welcome, Zeb.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks, buddy. Oh, my goodness, it's good to get back here in the studio. It's good to be back on the program. Thank you, everybody, for being so kind. And again, my thanks. I want to say this every hour so everybody hears it. Gina and Sharon and Wheels and everybody, God bless you for all your help while I was laid up. We're trying every day to get back in the saddle again, and I actually feel pretty good right now. Caller, I'll be right there. Stand by. Don't forget our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. Leaving on a trip, better get the brakes checked. They are the best with the best brake service anywhere around at all 7 locations. Be sure and check out your tires. They've got all the tires for all the different driving needs on your car, your SUV, your pickups, your horse trailers, boat trailers, everything. Stop in for summer travel time safety at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland in Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, Zeb, you say to yourself about, people, when they heard Trump's speech, forgive me, I lost my train of thought. And you say to yourself, he's always attracts a huge crowd. In other words, his ratings are always high. And, how many of you people sat there and listened to that speech and quietly understood that what he was saying was truth about where we are You know, we can't BS ourselves about the reality of where we are. And so the bump makes sense to me.
Absolutely.
Because there's so many people that, like they say, the Democrats are worried about transgender and the bathrooms and other things that mean nothing. And there was a gentleman from Virginia or West Virginia yesterday talking about what the real people need, and he was a Democrat, a lifelong Democrat. And you say, is the bump something because of the speech? And, you know, I hope that that's the case. You know, ultimately, what you're always looking for in my case is November 8th or 9th, whatever the heck day it is. When I go to bed that night and they say Donald Trump is the new president of the United States, I'm going to be able to, you know, maybe breathe a sigh of relief. You know, we're going to see how it goes with Trump, but I believe him, and I believe that I know he loves his country, and I know he has raised one hell of a good family.
You know, Randy, I'm going to have to break in there and say I agree with what your comments were, and I'm out of time, but I want to say how much it is a great thing for me to be back on the air and talk to folks like you, and call me again tomorrow. Would you please? All right, buddy. Thank you. Got to run. I have absolutely enjoyed being back here in the studio, and thanks for all the help from my lovely wife, Deanne. Without her, it wouldn't have happened. And we're going to be back again tomorrow morning at 8:06. Ride the horse for 3 hours, and you stay tuned. ZebBell.com for the internet service all over the United States and the world, and right here on K-Bar, 12:30 a.m., 8 to 11, right here. Zeb at the Ranch. The way things were are the way things ought to be. See you tomorrow morning. Thank you.